Greetings. Greetings in your after Christmas. I said that like a child. In your after Christmas. If in your after Christmas glory. Got a good enough tonight. We got some jokes we'll be starting off with in a second. Give it a minute here. I don't know what's going on with the hair tonight. This is my post-Christmas hair. I didn't do shit with it this morning. I had to go into work today. So, that was like a sloppy, that was a real sloppy day of work. Just nobody at work wanted to do anything today. Not really any people out still. I'm in San Diego and the streets are like the parking spaces outside of my apartment were still, looks like a ghost town a little bit. But yeah, I got the chat up. How was everyone's Christmas? Everyone have a good one? Cool. We'll give it a second here and we'll get started in a minute. If you're just joining on replay, just skip ahead to the credits, to the opening little intro thing, and you'll find there some jokes. We're streaming on TikTok, I think, tonight too, which is a rare event. TikTok lets me stream like once per week, and then I get kicked off immediately thereafter. There's something about, I thought it was because I was saying something inappropriate, but I think they have some like, to use this widescreen format with the overlays and stuff, they have a, it's for gaming or something. So you have to be streaming video games like at least 50% of the time. So unless I like play Call of Duty while doing this, I get banned every single week. And then I come back. And pull up my stuff here. Okay. Okay, let's get, oh shoot, we need to fix something now. Need to fix this. Okay, so we're gonna set this to Twitter for when we pull it up. Perfect. Why is that not showing? Oh, it's because I don't have it on. Perfect. Let's get that a little bit bigger. Well, let's leave it like that for now. New backdrop, by the way. This is flimsily constructed. So at any given point, this could completely collapse and you'll just see a couch behind me. Just FYI. Don't be ashamed if it happens. I won't be. I will be, but I won't show it. All right. Where's my sheet? Let's go here. Okay, I think we're about good. Let's get the show started. Live from a studio apartment, this is Misinformation. All right, well tonight, top stories. You know, with all the brick and mortar stores closing in recent years, it's nice to know you can still walk into a Barnes & Noble and get stabbed. It's a comforting in a way, you know, rather than shopping online from the safety of your home. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's just one more reason to not want to read a book. Yeah. Been years for me. I was already on the way out. So, this puts the nail in the coffin, or the knife in the book, if you will, for me. This is big in the news today. Multiple Somalian childcare centers in Minnesota were found to have no children in them. Yeah. And it turns out these Somalian childcare centers are like Kwanzaa. Everyone's heard it exists, but no one actually practices. That there's a thinking man's joke. Some not particularly funny, but Still gets the point across. This was a crazy story. A female Washington State police lieutenant in Seattle was carjacked on Christmas Day. Yeah, the suspect, a male, casually walked up to the car, pulled her out, and drove right off. Which just goes to show you, women shouldn't be allowed to drive. I've said this many times in the past, and you can see it for yourself here. It's what they're all saying. Should never have been allowed to have been given driver's licenses. This was big in the news last week. Erica Kirk met with Candace Owens. Yeah. To finally answer the conspiracy theory of, did you fuck my husband? Well, did you? Then why are you acting so crazy about it? That was fun. Those were jokes. What else we got here? Okay, we're gonna go on to the news. I need coffee. 7, was it 10 on the East Coast here? I don't know if I can see the chat, by the way. So if there are people there, say what's up so I can see if I'm getting chat messages. I need to try this stuff out a little bit. Okay. TikTok is the exception, unfortunately. You know, I should get a separate phone to see if I could see those, like, I won't be able to read it. TikTok, it doesn't show me the chats for some reason. I'll see if I can pull you guys up, though. It's funny because TikTok's probably the only actual audience I have right now. Let me see if there's a way for me to see this stuff. Kinda. Oh, there we go. What up? I'm speaking directly to TikTok now. Look at that. It's like weirdly the only platform. Like I'll jump on YouTube and it doesn't really distribute the lives to people. You know, it's just sort of, they have to know it's existing, so nobody watches it yet. But TikTok will kind of show it to a bunch of people, so people that are interested can kind of jump on and join and stuff. It's a little more fun. But anyways, I think I could see you guys' stuff here. I'll try to keep that open as I'm going through stuff. In fact, where's my notes? Let's move these down. Oh, I know what we could do. What best way? All right, let's put this here. Okay, big stuff in the news today. Start with the biggest one, probably. You guys see the Nick Shirley reporting coming out of I was going to say Somalia, but it's actually coming out of, I think it's Minneapolis, isn't it? Minneapolis or Minnesota, I forget which one. But it's kind of crazy. So there was the whole Feeding Our Future scandal that came up with the Somalians out there, where they were basically stealing money from some free food distribution program that was meant to feed like hungry children, and so they were all signing up for it and using it for fraudulent purposes. Well, now Nick Shirley is just like this. He's just a guy. That's kind of the funny part about it. He's not like associated with any media organization, but he has a really, really good report on this. If you guys haven't seen it, you should go watch it actually on YouTube. It's good enough that it's like 40 minutes long, and I watched like the majority of it. So just to give you an idea, what he's exposing is this other part of the scam, which are these child care centers that they have out there in Minnesota, where in some cases there's a building where there's like 14 of these same centers all in the same literal office building, right? And it's apparently all Somalians that are signing up for whatever government program is allowing people who have like a home health care center or like a Somalian community health center to sign up for these funds. So it's both healthcare centers and it's child care centers. Let me put up the graphic here because this kind of helps to explain it. He has a really good graphic to illustrate the fraud scheme. think you guys can see that here. Yeah, perfect. So it's set up to where there's like 3 similar sounding but different kinds of things you can do, where it's like adult daycare, child daycare, or healthcare, right? And you can set up any of these different types of businesses. They can be right next to each other in the same building. They visit something like 10 different child care centers, like one after another, and none of them have any children in it. All right, they're all empty. I think one of them had like 1 kid, but other than that, they're all empty, and they're all getting millions of dollars from taxpayer money to basically fund these child daycare centers. They look like abandoned storefronts. Let me see if I can pull them up here. This is why. This is like one of them here. Oh, sorry. I gotta pull this thing up. Mac. Perfect. So these places he's going to, what's interesting, all of the windows in several places, the windows are boarded up, or they're not boarded up, they're blacked out, so you can't even see inside. No one answers the doors. Like, very few people will even answer the doors. And he's just literally walking around to all these places, which apparently nobody from CNN thought to do, nobody from Fox News thought to do it, and he's exposing tons and tons of these places, which he's saying are essentially fraudulent. Here's another graphic that he was showing that's kind of illustrative. It's a placard inside of one of the business centers that he went to, where there's 14 different businesses that are healthcare businesses of some sort or another. They share similar names. They're like Somali Health. You can kind of check down the list there, but they're literally right next to one another. So as he's walking down the hallway in the documentary, he's like, oh, here's another one. It's a home health care center. Oh, and right next door, here's another one. It's a Somali community center. Here's another one. Very few of them have patients of any kind in it. So he's apparently exposed this huge fraud scheme. One of the things that I thought was interesting about it is it's just kind of impressive that there's just this guy walking around has brought all this to light, you know, because the mainstream media hasn't covered it at all. And we really wouldn't have gotten this type of news with the mainstream media. You kind of get from CNN or from Fox, you get whatever stories they decide as a group that they want to push, right? And if you go right now to their websites, this isn't covered on it. Fox might have it now, but it wasn't earlier. And so what you're seeing is this very, like, it's kind of an underground, this is going to be me for infinity. Let's go here. It's like an underground reporting where this is big all over X. Like, if you're on X or Twitter and you follow the news on there, like, this is this has been the top story the entire day. It's covered nowhere else. So it really is a completely different kind of news media where you're getting this sort of guerrilla news from just people on the ground. It's so interesting watching him go do the reporting, and everyone asks him, you know, who are you here with? And he goes, I'm Nick Shirley. And they go, yeah, but with who? And he goes, I'm with Nick Shirley. I'm a YouTuber, you know. Huge story. So yeah, 14 home health care centers in one building. I think I have a clip of it here, actually. Here he's talking about the 14 places.
A list of all of the healthcare companies. Loads of them right here. We want healthcare.
No, it's okay.
Yes, we'd like to speak about getting healthcare here.
No.
Why can't I get healthcare here?
No, wait.
Warning, you are under video surveillance. No trespassing, security, armed. This is the strangest place I've ever been to get healthcare. Just a bunch of different places. Healthcare here, healthcare right here. Another healthcare company right here. There.
I mean, if these were actual businesses, wouldn't you expect them to not be 14 in the same place of essentially the same type of business. He does bring up a good point. Now, at one point during the video, he does walk into one of these places. I think I see one patient who does look like an actual patient who's sitting there. So maybe some of these places do treat people. I don't know. But based on the numbers that he's showing, at least in this report, with the amount of money that they're getting versus the amount condensed in this one area and the amount of patients, it does look like fraud.
There are
I think this is
three
the place.
healthcare companies.
I don't know if he gets kicked out at the end of this.
Because there's 14 healthcare companies inside this building, so.
Okay. Well, that's not what he said. He said there's 14 companies here, and he's trying to assume because they're Somali providers that everyone here is fraudulent.
Okay. So
He's here with some kind of like propaganda.
No, we're just checking.
No, this is a area that we're allowed to enforce trespassing ordinance. Is there any other reason that you guys are here?
Well, we were checking rate.
So he gets kicked out by the police here. There's actually portions of the video where he's being followed around by like a van full of Somalians. Because apparently, like, it's just a very tight-knit community out in Minnesota, the Somali community. So that's at least what he's alleging, is they protect each other because they're all in on the same sort of a scheme, right? So they all sort of know what's going on. They alert each other when things are happening like that. And you could see there, to be fair, he does have a camera and he's walking around door to door. So, you know, they can say, hey, he's trespassing and he's interviewing. And I'm sure some of the people close the doors because they don't want the press there. But I don't think he gets a straight response from any of the child care centers or any of the home health care centers he goes to about how many children are actually there, who the patients are, or how long they've been there or anything. You question anyone that gets masters these days? It can be a bit of a negative signal, right? I mean, there used to be a point in time when like college degrees were actually like super valuable, but now it's more of an indicator that you've almost been through like a leftist terror training ground. So what else we got going? How was everyone's Christmas? Have a good one so far? Is everyone back home? Mine was chill. I'm in San Diego and I drove up to visit my mom and my sister up in San Bernardino, which the drive's not fun, but we did a little song. I play the guitar, little known fact. My sister always bothers me to make a Christmas song, which I did not want to do, but they started singing it. I think this will play. Let me find it. Here we go.
2025, lucky to still be alive. Santa died on the 405, drunk again, I'm tired of life. You're the honey in my beehive. All our dreams in the gutter. One stick of butter will make do. Dated a girl, she's a cutter. What's gonna happen next year? 2026. Are we gonna make the contact with aliens? Or Kyle and Nicole just retarded? This is the Christmas song.
This year's been way too long.
Christmas song.
I should probably provide some context there. The white Stevie Wonder in the video is my sister's husband. She got him these like red blocker glasses from something. I forget, some Huberman glasses or something. They're supposed to like block blue light when you're falling asleep and stuff like that. So he was wearing those. And we just made up a song. I was a grumpy asshole most of the rest of the night though, so might have redeemed slightly. I was grumpy from the drive. But yeah, that was my Christmas. Let's check out more news. Should we do jokes again? Jokes again. Let's do a little more news. What do we got? Oh, yeah. Oh, this was, I mean, if you're joining us, oh my God, I hate that. If you're joining us just now, I gotta like move this over to a different screen or something. Maybe there. Let's try that. I don't want the Travis into infinity. It's too much for me. Oh, come on. Okay. I almost have this to work, but I'm like sliding around little windows on the computer. And sometimes you click the wrong button and it gets giant. So that's what's happening, if anyone's wondering. Also at a tiny desk. Okay, this was related to the Nick Shirley story. Just kind of more, everything's sort of fraud themed today. Are we getting this? Oh man. Okay, I think that's what we want. Here's a clip. Apparently this is an Islamic immigrant, Ahmad al-Shami, who ran a New York deli, was prosecuted for fraud. EBT fraud. So we've heard of some of these with the Somalis in Minnesota. This was in New York. I guess he was in court for his fraud case, and his wife and her friend flipped off the crowd and shouted, F America.
You happy now? For Mr. Shami? All of you guys. America, it.
Strong words from the wife of this Lovejoy Corner deli owner.
For Mr. Shami? All of you guys. America, it.
Now I know that's not all immigrants, but you could not have given immigrants in general a worse look right now than saying F America, because that's what people, you know, when people see fraud like this, that's what they assume the immigrants think of America. So to see that blatant attitude, that entitlement, and, you know, who, for someone, by the way, who's going through due process, who's going through a court system that they get to take advantage of, you know, to flip off the country that gives them that opportunity that they would probably not have had elsewhere. They probably just would have had their hands cut off, I'm assuming, right? But here you get to flip us off. So that's fine. But yeah, that was an interesting clip. There's, oh my gosh. Did you guys hear about the stabbing at the Barnes and Noble? Oh man, hope you get better from your flu, whoever that is. Yeah, the flu sucks. Flu is rough. The flu is like, someone in the comments is saying they have the flu. The flu is like you get it every once in a while. Ain't all the time. Can't find the chat now. But in any case, there was the Barnes and Noble guy who, this tweet here, they're comparing it to the Irina Zarutska case. That was, of course, the pretty young blonde girl who was stabbed. I think we all saw pretty graphically on, I think it was the Charlotte subway in that case. This was in Florida somewhere. This lady just walks into a Barnes and Noble. She's browsing, presumably before Christmas, at some books, and gets stabbed by this guy who is another, you know, hate to say it, but it's the same sort of profile these past couple of times. It's a sort of homeless black guy, doesn't seem to have a motive other than he was triggered by something and decided to stab the nearest white person. So, and somebody else put a tweet up recently showing something similar like this that happened about 2 years ago on December 26th, like same day. And it was another guy who stabbed a couple teenagers in like a subway line because they were white. He was actually charged with a hate crime. But I think at this point it is safe to say that to some extent these people have been programmed. I think with the repetitive messaging that the Democrats have done over the last couple of years, trying to convince black people that white supremacy is the greatest terror threat to the United States and white people are entitled and white people are a threat to them, I think that they are programmed to hate. And I think that's what you're seeing with these cases is, you know, they're obviously not right in the head, so they got that going on. But then you add into the mix, you know, this programmable hate that they've sort of, their brains have been infested with, and all of a sudden you put them in a situation where they're a little on edge, they're around a white person. I believe that they think they're doing society a greater good, right? Like, I think they believe that they're doing a good act, or they're evening the scales somehow in doing these things. So I don't know how you walk people out of that after they've already been conditioned to hate over several years of repetitive programming, but I don't know, it's kind of tough. What else we got? Trump with a big claim. I think this was from today. Just popping up, yeah.
Stone Cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama.
Now he's accusing, essentially, I guess he always has accused Obama and Hillary Clinton and Clapper of being behind an attempt to discredit him with the Russia collusion hoax. Now he's going into saying that he has actual documents. Apparently Tulsi Gabbard is somehow involved and has these documents, or that's what he says she told him. That she has thousands of pages of documents that show the connection between Obama, Hillary Clinton, the Steele dossier, and James Clapper. Basically them manufacturing the Russia collusion hoax and attempting to steal the election. I think he's referring to the first election when that happened. But he's pretty confident. He talks about it at some length for like 2 or 3 minutes in a longer clip about how he has documents and everyone's going to see. So I don't know what Tulsi Gabbard has, and I don't know if it's one of those things where she's just telling him, like, I have all these things, he's getting lost in translation, or if he actually has the goods. But that's what I'm interested to see, because he seems pretty confident. He's bringing up a lot of bluster about these documents that he has in his possession. So we'll see if something actually comes out of this time. You got, this was Stephen Miller tweet. He says, he watched the Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra family Christmas with my kids. Imagine watching that and thinking America needed infinity migrants from the third world. So there is some truth to this. I don't love this tweet, because I do feel like America can be a diverse place, right? I don't mind America being a diverse place. In fact, I think that's one of its strengths is diversity. It's a melting pot, in other words. I'm one of those people who buys that shit hook, line, and sinker, right? The key thing that I think he's saying here very distinctly, which makes it make sense, is the word infinity. Imagine watching that and thinking America needed infinity migrants from the third world. He brings up a good case, which is, even if you believe in accepting people of different faiths, cultures, races, which I obviously, like, I do, right? You still have to be tempered in the amounts of people that you're bringing in from those different cultures. You also have to be cognizant of how well each of those different types of cultures is able to assimilate into American culture. So for instance, certain cultures are probably better at assimilating than others, right? We've seen in various countries, Muslims, for instance, is one of the hot button topics. Now, their culture is very, very different, and their mindset is not to come in and to assimilate into your culture. It's in large part to come in and to make you assimilate to their beliefs, right? So they look to kind of come in and force their beliefs upon your culture. And they have certain things which they won't bend on, that they're very intolerant on, right? So for instance, if you have a certain population of Muslims in the country and they will only eat halal food, right? And that's a sticking point for them, but the rest of the population can eat halal or non-halal, it doesn't matter to them, then that small minority, even though they're a much smaller percentage, because they're intolerant, over time, theoretically all food would be halal. It would all conform to the intolerant group's tastes, simply because they have a sticking point and the other group doesn't. So I'm sort of getting a little bit off topic here, but the point is, when you're looking at certain groups that you're bringing into the country, you have to look at how well they assimilate, and is there going to be a certain tipping point at which you move towards that exponential trajectory with where, just given time, if they're more intolerant and they're unable to assimilate, they're going to change completely the culture of the country, right? America should be a melting pot, right? But the key of the melting pot is everyone melts, right? Everyone assimilates. In other words, you come in maybe a Somali American, you become an American, 100%. That's how I read it. What's been happening over the last several years is you have Somalis that come in and they don't become Americans. They stay Somali Americans, right? Or they stay Mexican Americans, right? And you have these different groups who, I think largely this is encouraged by Democrats who are very into identity politics, right? And are very into creating specialized identity groups. You see it in Minnesota right now. If you're a part of this specialized Somalian group, you can get all kinds of benefits, welfare benefits, SNAP benefits. You can create your home health care business. You can create a taxi cab business. You can create a daycare. You get a ton of stuff because you're a part of this special interest group. But what that's also doing is it's making people have an asterisk next to being an American. They're not just 100% an American. They're a conditional American, right? And that's where I think we run into problems with reaching a cultural tipping point. You can sort of see it in Minnesota a little bit, right? Where they reached a certain cultural tipping point and now the entire state is overrun with fraud, right? Because they didn't watch that threshold enough, carefully enough. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on it. Let me see if we got anything else going on. I don't want this. Healthcare is, there's one building, EBT fraud, we did that. Let's get this off for a sec. Huh. I might read a monologue. Ish. I don't like how it looks though. We'll try it out, whatever. I don't know if anyone's there from TikTok still, by the way. So if you guys are gone, good evening. Look, let's cut the fairy tale right now. The American melting pot, sure, it's a beautiful idea if it actually worked. You come here from anywhere, any background, roll up your sleeves, ditch the old country loyalties, and fully assimilate. Become American. No hyphens. No Somali Americans, side hustles keeping one foot in Mogadishu. You melt in, or you boil over. That's the deal. Full stop. But in Tim Waltz's Minnesota, it's not a pot, it's a pressure cooker of fraud, exploding with $250 million from the Feeding Our Future scam alone. That's the biggest COVID relief heist in U.S. history. Fake meal sites for phantom kids, bogus childcare centers raking in millions more, one leering center, yes, misspelled, learning center, yes, misspelled, with 0 children spotted inside, pocketed $1.9 million in 2025 taxpayer cash from CCAP. Windows blacked out, doors locked midday, supposedly for 99 kids that nobody can find. They got 99 problems, but a kid ain't one. Add autism clinics billing Medicaid $14 to $220 million for therapy from unqualified teens, recruiting Somali parents with kickbacks for fake diagnoses. I don't know if that part's true, by the way. I ran this voice memo through AI, so sometimes it hallucinates stuff. Housing programs, $302 million stolen. Total, U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson says it's staggering, topping $9 billion across 14 programs, with 82 of 92 defendants Somali Americans. 70 plus charged in Feeding Our Future, 50 to 62 convictions by late 2025, including the ringleader Amy Brock and Abdimajid Nur's 10-year sentence for $47 million. Luxury Porsches, Maldives villas, lakefront mansions, wires to Kenya, Turkey, $60 to $70 million seized, but billions laundered via wallas and whispers. I don't know what a hawala is. Millions trickling to al-Shabaab terrorists, taxing it in Somalia. Treasury probing as of December 2025. Trump calls it fraud tourism, funding jihadis. And just today, December 26th, 2025, independent journalist Nick Shirley dropped fresh bombshells that are going nuclear online. In viral videos, Shirley and his crew hit multiple Somali-run daycares in Minneapolis, confronting workers face-to-face at empty facilities licensed for dozens, even 99 of kids, but showing zero evidence of children. No toys, no noise, blacked out windows, misspelled signs like Quality Leering Center. One spot got $1.9 million in 2025 alone, with Shirley yelling, "Where are these 74 kids? Did you lose them?" Workers shut doors, yelled back, even called the cops on him after he shopped around rates in sketchy buildings housing clusters of these healthcare shells. Shirley claims his one-day investigation uncovered over $110 million in suspected fraud across these sites, just the tip of the iceberg. Why Minnesota? Blue State Welfare Buffet under Waltz. Blue State Welfare Buffet under Waltz. Lax oversight. Racism cries to shut down audits. Feeding Our Future sued the state in 2021 alleging discrimination. These aren't war refugees. They're benefit shoppers from Somalia, world's most corrupt nation per Transparency International. Drawn by EBT, Medicaid, CCAP, handouts better than home. Some contribute, fine, name them, but their alleged contributions to American society, like these vacant front daycares, empty buildings, 14 healthcare shells, and one ghost address. Humans are pattern matching machines. Import clannish, tribal cultures, Islam's values clashing on women, Sharia loyalty, en masse without assimilation mandates. You hit the tipping point. Parallel societies, no-go vibes like Europe's riots. Minnesota's Somali diaspora, 80,000 plus in the Twin Cities, crossed it. Fraud rings, FGM reports underground, illegal here. Mayor's screaming fraud, father Waltz, won't return calls as towns bleed. Nick Shirley's kid journalist vids do more than CNN. Cops raiding, judges overturning unanimous guilty verdicts. Basic question elites ban. Why import more from fraud factories like Somalia or Haiti? Zero problem solved. Housing shortages worsen. Kids starve sans real meals. Real autistic children get nothing. This isn't bigotry. It's math. Indictments, DOJ slides, and now Nick Shirley's fresh footage from today proving the whole thing is a house of cards. That monologue kind of sucked. Oh my god. That was alright. So what I've been doing to experiment with the monologues, I need a little bit more running them over, is I'll take it and I'll like speak what I want to say basically into a voice memo. And then I'll take that and transcribe it into AI. Like transcribe it, put it into AI and say, hey, put this in order and put it into a monologue, right? Because I want to be able to do it with speed. But the problem with the AI is it gets like 90% of it right and then just makes up some wild shit. So as I'm reading that, I'm like, this is fucking made up. I'm certain this is made up. Because I didn't have time to look it over today. I didn't know if I was going to do it, but that was really funny. Some of it's all right. But I also just liked just talking. I feel like that's better sometimes. So, anyways, that's mostly the show for tonight. We'll, I might do it tomorrow night. I might not. I might do it Sunday. We'll see. But, yeah, thanks for joining if you joined. And I hope you had a good Christmas, and I will see you.